Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're back here with more information, or at least going to get as much information as we can. There is another press briefing that's going to be press conference that's supposed to be happening in the next, in less than 40 minutes from now. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what the heck is going on here. There's been a lot of conversation about people actually being gone, like the assailant actually being gone, and still just trying to find out as much information as we can, okay? So anyway, guys, we got to get into this. So do me a favor, hit that like button down below, crush it, do what it do, hit that reaction button. If you're watching on other platforms, please and thank you. If you are watching on those other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button, okay? Follow on all my platforms. I'm on Kick, from Kick, Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Facebook. I'm on all the mother lovers, okay? So make sure to follow, subscribe, or like, okay? Subscribe here on my main channel. If you're watching on YouTube, go to my second channel on YouTube. It's called The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Let me know that you want to get all the information that you can. So you hit that notification bell so you know whenever I'm alive, whenever I'm uploading stuff, because it's random. Hit that join button down below. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay? PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. Okay, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to get through all the mucky muck, all that important stuff so we can get straight into the conversation here. Okay? Because, of course, because we have a lot that is going on here. And the thing is, of course, I step away for 2 seconds, and then there's a lot of stuff that has kind of popped off revolving around this particular case. One thing is for sure, there were just so you guys know, for those of y'all who are just kind of walking in, okay, there is a okay. So there was an assailant taking aim at firefighters and cops while they were trying to put out a fire, okay, which apparently was made deliberately so that they could be ambushed. Firefighters could be ambushed by this particular assailant. Why this whole thing went down, I still don't know. But we are hearing that allegedly this person now, this assailant, is now gone. Okay? Now, the thing is that's the one thing we're all trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure it out. I've been hearing through the grapevine that apparently there's been somebody that was found unalive in the woods, and apparently like a weapon was nearby. So, of course, people are assuming right off the bat that, of course, this assailant, it has been taken out. But we do not know. It has not been confirmed as of yet. From my understanding as well, they should be briefing us, everyone, literally, in a little over than like, in about 35 minutes or so, we should be hearing a press conference from the police giving us a new breakdown and giving us new updates revolving around this thing. Now, I heard that there was going to be a press conference earlier, like it was supposed to be happening 30 minutes ago, but I don't know. Okay, now Bougie just said they sent out a presser. Okay, good. I'm going to go and check that out. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Okay. I will take a look at all that stuff. But like I said, still trying to find out. But apparently they still, from my understanding, they're still going to do a press conference here in the next half hour or so to give everybody more of an update on what's going on. Okay, so we will be waiting for that press conference. We will talk about those things and see what the heck is going on. Okay. But real quick, now that you guys already know, because I mean, of course, you come back for part 2. Okay. Clearly, you guys are here for that conversation. You already know what's been going on. So I'm just going to go straight into the meat and potatoes, some news coverage, get some articles, see if I can get that presser and the presser, not the press conference, but the presser, so we can talk about that as well. But let me play this really quick for you guys too.
Experience this must be tonight. Tell me a little bit. Do you want to bring in, joining us on the phone now, Mark Lathrop? He is in Coeur-d'Alene, Idaho right now, and was an eyewitness to this unfolding. Mark, I really appreciate you joining us. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Mark, tell me a little bit more, and I understand what a stressful and surreal experience this must be tonight. Tell me a little bit about where you are and what you've seen today.
Yeah, so my house is about a block away from what we call Canfield Mountain and a very popular hiking trail and ORV trail, which I think the incident is actually at the ORV trail. It's very wooded. It's very dry, which makes the fire concerning since they can't fight it. There's multiple helicopters overhead, and there's snipers teams set up every block here watching the hill in case the suspects come this way.
Yeah, it must be a very scary situation as well. We're looking at stills that are showing smoke in the air. We didn't really understand the full extent that, of course, firefighters, once they were fired upon, and we know at least 2 people are dead so far. We still don't have a total number of casualties coming out of that. That they were not able to complete fighting the fire that now appears to be intentionally set. Is a fire still burning as far as you can see right now?
Yep, the fire has not changed. The wind is pretty light, luckily, so but it is blowing towards us. But it hasn't changed in size since probably 2 p.m. our time.
Okay, and what does it look like to you?
It's burning white, so I can tell that they basically haven't been able to touch it. And obviously, these are sheriff helicopters overhead, so these are not fire assets at all.
What concerns you the most right now?
The safety of our first responders.
Yeah, Mark, what was going through your mind when you first heard these reports that firefighters were showing up to do their jobs? They were responding to a fire call. This is I grew up in California. We worry about wildfires. They were just responding to try to put out a fire in dry conditions, and there are 2 people who are dead.
It's unspeakable evil. I don't think I can touch on it more than that.
Yeah. What are you seeing in terms of actual presence? We understand that there are some very brave souls, some law enforcement, who are actively under fire, under sniper fire right now. They don't know if it's one suspect or multiple suspects on that mountain. Can you hear or see any of that activity?
We cannot. We're one ridge basically removed from the fire, and I would expect the suspects are close to the fire. So
Again, let me just say this too, because of course, we're getting some reports about them saying that this person, of course, this assailant is gone. But when the first initial press conference was made, the sheriff said, I don't know if it's more than just one person, because how the bullets are flying in so many different directions, right? So I think that that's something that is very important to put in, to put into your brains for a second, because it could very well be one person. But the fact that they're saying that bullets are flying in so many different directions, it does make me wonder, like, could there be more, right? Could there be other people? Because that just seems a little bit weird, right? But again, that's obviously something that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. I'm going to play a little bit more of this. We got some more stuff we're going to look into, so we're going to keep it moving.
We can't hear shots at this point. And the teams that are set up look pretty relaxed, so I don't think that we're actually close. We feel pretty safe. My neighbors are out watching the fire, so since they can't fight it, that's just kind of what we're monitoring as
Yeah,
a situation.
I'm glad to hear that. And can you help explain? I mean, you're very familiar with this terrain in this area. We understand that law enforcement is having a tremendously difficult time in neutralizing the suspect or suspects. They've been
Did, past tense, did have a hard time. And obviously this is a few hours old, okay? This interview.
trying to for some time now. And now the very latest we're hearing is they say this could be a multi-day operation. Can you help us understand why it would be so difficult to neutralize a sniper out there in that area?
It is pretty steep, a lot of switchbacks, and there's a trail system and road system that goes back for 30 to 50 miles. So there is just a lot of places for them to go and for them to search. So I mean, it's not a great situation.
Yeah. Has any
Okay, so I'm going to pause that because I do have some more updates here, and of course some more news coming from a bunch of different places, NBC, etc. So we're going to get straight into this, but this is interesting. Like I said, do they know for a fact if this is the person or not? It could be the person, it may not be the person, but at the same time, with everything that's going on, okay, with everything that's going on, I feel like it's safe to say, to assume, okay, that this is at least one of the assailants. But they said right here, man found unalive with firearm nearby. Shelter in place has been lifted. The shelter in place order has indeed been lifted. But at the same time, we'll see, right? This could very well be the guy. This could be the monster that did all these things, or it may not be the guy. He could also just be a bystander. He could also be somebody who was trying to take out the assailant himself, and the assailant took him out before he could take him out. You never know, right? But it says here, a man was found unalive on Canfield Mountain, and there was a firearm that was found near the body. Okay, and this is what the sheriff said. Though the man was not identified as the actual assailant, the discovery prompted authorities to lift a shelter-in-place order for those nearby. So the sheriff's office said members of the SWAT found the actual body, okay? So again, this could very well be the guy, right? But it may not be the guy. I mean, you know, I feel like it's 99.9% the guy. You know what I mean? But you still got to leave a little bit of room. Can't be perfect 100% until you hear from law enforcement and for them to say, hey, this is indeed the guy, right? But that's the other thing too. Who is the guy, right? Shogun's asking a good question. Who is the guy? Why is this guy? And what did he do? If this is the guy, did he leave like a, did he leave like some sort of a little letter, manifesto, write a little scroll, put it on the talons of a hawk and let it fly around until he got erased from this planet and then fly back down to where his body is to leave the manifesto by? You know what I mean? I'm just kind of curious where, how, who, what, when, where, and why, right? Why? So the sheriff's office said members of the SWAT team found his body. Officials said that although the shelter-in-place order was being lifted, there is still an active wildfire. Yeah, let's not forget the fire that's going on, that's brewing, okay? This brush fire that has just continued to grow because this monster was taking out firefighters and they had to retreat. Let's not forget that. So residents in the area are advised to be prepared and ready should further action need to be taken. So if they're like, okay, we lifted this, the shelter in place has been lifted, they might be like, oh, go back to your homes, shelter in place, because we thought it was the guy, or we thought it was the only guy, and apparently there's more. Maybe. The way that they said, we don't know if there's 1, 2, 3, or 4 different monsters out there just shooting at everybody all at the same time, because how the bullets are flying in random in so many different directions, it makes you, of course, it brings great pause to the law enforcement, okay? Which makes complete sense in my personal opinion, okay? I'd be concerned too. And I'd be like, okay, so we found one of them. Let's make sure it's only one before we tell everybody, okay, everybody is okay. Go back to your regularly scheduled programs. Enjoy your TV dinners and watching your late night TV shows. Nothing to worry about. Just continue Netflixing and chilling. Tomorrow will be a brighter day. I want to make sure everything's Gucci before, you know what I'm saying? Just saying. Okay? But we'll see what happens here. We will definitely see what happens here indeed. All right, let's just go back a little bit. Wow, that's terrible. So 2 victims, okay? 2 of today's actual victims passed away before they actually reached the hospital. Okay? It's not clear whether the patients the hospital spokesperson was referring to are the ones Sheriff Norse had said earlier that had passed away. A 3rd victim was taken to the facility, was being treated for injuries, the spokesperson said. And of course, well, we already know that they run a level 2 trauma center capable of comprehensive care, making it one of the highest level trauma centers in the region, which is, of course, great stuff. Okay, so the ATF responded to this situation, okay, to coeur-dalene, okay, this afternoon, including special agents, certified fire investigators, and canine handlers. So the spokesperson said the scene is still very active, and of course, this is I'm going backwards here. So of course, this happened before this man's body was actually found. Okay, but again, I was keeping an eye on it, but I'm like, damn, they found his body. I was like, they found him quick, which I'm really glad about. Right? I'm really, really glad about that. Right? I think we all should be happy if this is only one person, because again, of what the sheriff said before, right? But let me pull this up here, because of course they're saying that this is the assailant. They're like, hey, him gone. Him gone. The news is even saying this, and this is the news saying this right now.
We have multiple agencies that are on scene, from local and federal authorities, and we are prepared to neutralize this suspect who is currently actively shooting at public safety personnel.
And this is breaking news that we've been following for the last couple of hours. At least 2 firefighters are dead after being ambushed by a gunman who we've just learned in the last 5 minutes has now been found dead. This is happening in Coeur-dalene in Idaho, a city of 55,000 near the border of Washington state. It's right near Spokane. Officials say the report of a brush fire on Canfield Mountain came in around 1:30 Pacific time. Responding firefighters were then shot about half an hour later. Investigators are not clear if anybody else has been hurt or if anybody else has been killed. People in the area are being asked to stay away as that investigation continues.
Okay, so they're actually saying, before they even do this press conference, they're saying this indeed is the guy. But is it the only guy? I hate to be asking that, okay? But I feel like that's a fair question to ask. And yeah, most definitely something's in the potato, Shogun. Something's going on. Something's in the water, something's in the potatoes, okay? Something's going on. Something's definitely going on. Yes, I saw it. Thank you so much, beautiful messy ball. I appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, something definitely is off with the world for sure. Okay, that goes without saying. Definitely something really is going off. Here's something from the sheriff's county, okay, or the sheriff, okay. So this evening, members of the SWAT team located a deceased male on Canfield Mountain. A firearm was found nearby. Additional information will be provided during the scheduled press briefing at 9:30 p.m. So in about 20 minutes, babies, they will be having a press conference here, okay? At this time, the shelter in place is being lifted. However, there is still an active wildfire. Yeah, let's not forget the flames. The flames. Okay. Residents in the area are advised to be prepared and ready should further action need to be taken. Okay. So again, they're saying they found a body and they're just like, well, this must be the guy. Yep, that must be the guy. That is the guy. Hopefully it is the guy. Hopefully it is the mother-loving guy. And I will say this, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm very surprised that there's so many people on a Sunday night alive and awake and are curious about this. So I appreciate that. Welcome to the late night show. Thank you so much. You could be watching anywhere else. I'm surprised. I was like, I'm probably just gonna have like 3 people watching. It's all good. I said I was gonna be on, so I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say and stay on because I said I was gonna be on. You feel me? But yeah. So I appreciate you guys coming on and being a part of the conversation. Thank you so much. All right. Small ask. Okay. Very, very small ask. All right. But it's very, very simple. Hit that like button down below. Okay. Can we just get it to 1K? Can we get to the 1K? We're going to continue giving you the information and all that stuff that you need for the night. Okay. And it will be a brief show. I will tell you that because it's Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? Damn. So maybe it's not late for you, Tumwater Troy. Maybe not late for you, but it's late for me. Okay. It's late. And then I'm going to be back up tomorrow in the morning for Verdict Watch. Yes. Is he guilty or is he not? We will find out this week. Hopefully we'll find out before 4th of July, right? That's another conversation in itself. But hit that like button down below, okay? In all seriousness, all right? Hit that like button down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, but we will be tomorrow. Commences Verdict Watch for the diddler. So yes, we shall be very busy tomorrow. Yes. So I'm glad that this was nipped in the bud. This man was taken. It's done. As long as he's the only one. Okay? You know? Let me get this here. Breezy. Let's see. Thank you so much for the super chat. Will they do a GSR to determine GSR? I don't know what that is. I'm so sorry. What is a GSR? Anybody know what that is? Or Breezy, could you expand on that acronym? Oh, thank you. That's a good question. I'm assuming they will. It also depends on if his body was badly burned. If his body's super burned, or or gunshot, yeah, that, or the residue from the weapon itself, yeah, they may do that. They may do that for sure. So that's something. That's something I'm hoping that they'll look into. Okay. But I can't answer that. Hopefully they'll answer that during the press conference for sure. Okay. But we're going to continue on though. Let's take a look at this, shall we? Thank you so much for sending these things my way. I appreciate you. So crews are beginning to take down command posts and clearing out for this whole situation. So that's interesting as well. Let's take a look.
Hi everyone, Hunter Bertram here, just checking in from the command post. You can see life flight helicopter leaving the scene right now. That's the last one. Before that, we're here. Also, a lot of those heavier law enforcement vehicles, including SWAT vans and command posts, they have started to wind down. Once the release came out that SWAT teams did locate a dead man on Canfield Mountain. You can actually see just above me the life flight helicopter taking off, leaving the area. We're going to keep bringing you more updates. That's be more. There's a press conference here where I'm at 9:30, so we'll be streaming that live. KXO Live Plus.
I mean, it's very telling. Clearly, this is very telling that they're already packing up their stuff and they're kicking rocks. You know, the alert, the threat is gone, right? Again, is all the threat gone? Are we sure it's 100% threat gone? That's the thing. Of course, not sitting here saying that I don't believe 5-0 or anything like that. Okay, I'm not even trying to go there. Okay, not even trying to allude to that fact. But there is something that a lot of people are, kind of curious about. There's more here, so let me show you guys what I'm looking at here. Hold on, let me take this down real quick. It says people in Idaho line the streets tonight to honor the 2 firefighters that were hit. Yeah. That's the right thing to do for sure.
Live pictures out of Coeur-dalene, Idaho. We have been following developments throughout the day of firefighters being ambushed when responding to a call for a brush fire in a local park there. What you're seeing now, we're told, is a procession coming out of that park. We saw at least one vehicle that appeared to be a hearse. You see people there, of course, waving flags, standing, lining the route there.
Hold on really quick. I was just thinking of something. I think this is a beautiful thing. It's very heartbreaking that this whole thing happened. You heard me in part 1 a few hours ago. This really aggravated me. This really angered me. Sorry. Hopefully kids aren't even around because they're supposed to be sleeping right now. So I'm going to say it. It really pissed me off. Okay. Stuff like this really pisses me off, especially when firefighters or first responders are just showing up to the scene to do their job, right? They're not provoking anything. They're not poking the sleeping bear. They're not doing anything, right? They're just going up there to fight a fire. That's literally what it is. And now you got 2 that have lost their lives just because they went to a brush fire to take that out. Okay. That's just ridiculous. Okay. Then also on top of that, yes. They believe, and from what we heard in dispatch audio earlier in, just a few hours ago when we did part 1 of the coverage of the situation, they basically said that they believed that this assailant started this fire specifically to bring first responders there to do what he did. But the question I still have, and the question that still burns in my belly right now, okay, or in my mind. Why would it be in my belly? Don't ask questions. It's late. But the one thing that's burning in my mind, the one main question I got right now is who took the kill shot? You heard me. It's an unalive man. They found the man deceased. Heart ain't breathing. Heart ain't breathing. Heart ain't beating. I'm tired, guys. Heart ain't beating, right? Brain waves ain't waving, right? So who took the shot? Unless it was self. Unless it was self. Because for a fact, if someone took that headshot, right? They took the shot. They would say it, right? And didn't the police basically say live during the previous press conference? They said, if you get a clear shot, take him out. Crazy that was said on TV, online. Okay. And I get it. Man is a monster. He's doing crazy stuff. They can't get control of it, right? They can't get the guy. So they're like, hey, by any means necessary, if you get a clean shot, blow, take him out, right? So if he was taken out, who took the shot? Because that would confirm it even more, right? That would confirm for sure this man that was found gone. And like I said, unless he did it himself, which is a good, strong possibility. Okay. We've seen this a million times before where that happens. But the other question is, if it was that, then somebody's got to have a story. Somebody's got a story to tell. I saw him. He was pointing towards us and I had a clean shot, so I took it, right? Then there would be no question on if this is the assailant or not, right? There'd be no question if he operated alone or if he operated with a group of people, right? It's just something to think about. Let me just play a little bit more. Like I said, anything's possible. Somebody may have taken him out, or he took himself out. Those are the two options here.
There had been, we were told a number of hours ago, an active shooter who they believed was on the loose. We do know at this hour that a body was found on the mountain, a firearm found nearby. It is not clear whether that was the suspect. But just to recap of how we got to this moment, that there is now this procession leaving the park, all of these law enforcement vehicles, as you can see. You see the fire trucks there as well. And again, we saw just a short moment ago what appeared to be at least one hearse. A little after 1 o'clock local time, there was a call of a brush fire. Firefighters.
Hold on real quick. Another question is, too, this is the thing that drives me crazy whenever they say stuff like the weapon was found nearby. How nearby is nearby? Because if he did it himself, right? Nearby would not be nearby, it'd be right next to him. It'd be on him or right next to him. Same thing as if he was taken out. It'd be bow, and he goes down with the weapon with him. You see what I'm saying? So it does make you wonder, when they say nearby, was it like 30 yards away or like right on top of him? Like right next to him. You can't deny that freaking weapon was in his hands for sure. You see what I'm saying? I hate when they say that, because it's like, was it on him or like leaning up against a tree down a little ways? A few, as you know, the military say, a few clicks down the path down there, a few clicks. So was that down a few clicks, or was it right on him? Nearby, just, it's very vague, right? Very vague. But, you know, hopefully we get some more information. Again, I'm not sitting here saying that this guy is not the guy. But the way they give out the information is very, you know, it's just kind of slow trickle when you just want to know everything. And I think also, too, is I think that they give us the small, vague, gray kind of descriptions like that so that they have the opportunity to go up to the podium and say to everybody, like, look what we done did. You know what I mean? Look at what the 5-0 did. We did it. He gone. One of our men took him you know what I mean? Something like that. You feel me? No disrespect. I'm not saying that as a disrespect thing. I just feel like that's like, no. Give him a little bit of information. But, you know, we're going to say everything at this press conference because we need our moment. We just did some things. Okay? We ran towards the fire, literally. So we're going to show what we talking about. Okay? And we should get the love too. Right? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe. That's just my take. Let's play a little bit more.
Responded, and then another call came in at 2 o'clock of firefighters reporting that shots had been fired. 2 firefighters were told were killed. A third, according to a firefighters union, is in the hospital now in surgery. The sheriff, just within the last couple of hours, holding an initial press conference confirming those 2 deaths, saying it was unknown whether there could be other casualties or civilians who could be stuck on the mountain. And at that time, again, just a few hours ago,
crazy.
The sheriff is saying that they were actively taking sniper fire, noting that they were prepared to neutralize the suspect, who appeared to be using, in the words of the sheriff, a modern-day sporting rifle, a high-powered rifle. Not long ago, I spoke with a local reporter who's based out of Spokane, Washington. That's only about 30 miles away, and this is essentially the same media market. She was telling me she's with the.
Okay, so of course, you know, they're doing showing some respect to the firefighters that lost their lives. Here's the other thing that's very true too. Local law enforcement, marshals, ATF, FBI, DHS, ICE, border. I mean, everybody and their mama, okay, showed up to take this mother lover out. But, you know, here's the thing. It just shows how serious this was, right? It just shows how serious this was. You got bullets flying every which way. You don't know where they're coming from. You have a fire going on at the same damn time. So there's a lot of things you got to look at. You know, a lot of factors that are going on. Firefighters are losing their lives. Cops are getting hit. Civilians are getting hit. fires are blazing in the area, and you got bullets flying everywhere, and you don't know where this guy or these people are. That's an insane and crazy and terrifying experience. I wouldn't want to be there at all as a civilian or as one of the best and brightest. Okay, because that is some scary stuff for sure, right? But nonetheless, somehow this person was taken out. How this person was taken out, I can't wait for us to hear what that is. And here's the other thing too. It doesn't matter. I know that, the people in the chat are like, I wonder if he was a migrant, or, I saw in the chat earlier, I bet he was DEI. Something crazy, right? We all got jokes. We all got opinions. Okay. We all have our bias and all that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, this is just an evil person. Okay. It doesn't matter if this person was black, white, Mexican, legal, illegal. It doesn't matter. Okay. We're going to find out soon enough. I'm sure the identity of this particular person is going to be found very, very soon. Found out very, very soon, or revealed. Hopefully by the time the press conference ends, we'll have a full-on identification of this particular assailant. We'll find out soon enough. Okay. But, I think we just need to wait and, quit trying to satiate your political bias. Okay, let's wait. You know what I mean? I bet he's one of them part of the damn LGBTQ plus community, damn migrants. You know what I mean? It's like, chill. We're gonna find out. Okay, we're gonna find out soon enough. Everything's gonna be all right. And when we do find out, boom, we'll find out. We'll know what it is. This could be a white male, MAGA country, like hardcore. Could be wearing a freaking MAGA hat on his head, body in the ground. Could be, and may not. You see what I'm saying? So let's just let it be. Let's let them cook. Let's let them talk their talk. Give us the information that we need so we can, keep it moving. Right? At least that's how I see it. So let me see something here real quick. Yep, NBC News is supposed to be we'll be holding a press conference here very, very soon. But yes, this is crazy. And very, very sad. Again, messed up, but very real. Welcome to our world, y'all. Welcome to our freaking world. All of this is wild to me. Okay? All of this is wild to me. I still can't believe that, you'd think that stuff like this, where people go and grab a weapon like they have, right? And they go and they do what they do. You'd think that it would only be like, let's just be real, like a few and far between. But unfortunately, it's becoming more and more of a thing. Now, I will say this, though. We haven't talked about a mass tragedy in a good while. If you really think about it, we haven't talked about a mass tragedy in a very good while. It's kind of surprising. I'm just hoping that this doesn't turn into a fad again, right? It turns into the trending thing, and then it's, then it's at a mall, then it's at a fair, then it's at another event. You see what I'm saying? I really hope. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still tragedies that still happen throughout the country and throughout the globe. But if you notice, there really hasn't been as much recently. So I'm hoping that this is not something that just kicks this thing off all over again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Mo, it's sad. You know what I'm saying? It's sad, y'all. It's sad. So they're supposed to be starting their, I'm looking at it right now. I'm serious, guys. Like, I'll just show you what I mean. They're supposed to be starting here. It's 11:30 or almost 11:30. Yeah, it's 11:29 my time. Okay. So hopefully they're going to be starting here in just a second. Okay. But like I said to you guys before, if you guys are just walking in, okay, late to the party, just finding out about all this, apparently the assailant has been taken out. Okay. The assailant has been found, neutralized. Okay. His body was found. They say a firearm was nearby the body, and that they lifted the shelter in place. Um, and people can go back to the regularly scheduled program in life. But still, firefighters still need to take out the fire that's happening, that's still brewing right now as we speak. Okay. So they still have to take care of that. But one thing is for sure, they still have that assailant allegedly gone. The other question still I have, and hopefully they answer it during this press conference, is that this is the only assailant. That's the question. Is this the only assailant? If this is not the only assailant, it's going to be interesting. But hopefully this is the only assailant. They wouldn't lift shelter in place. You see what I'm saying? They wouldn't lift shelter in place if there was really something going on. You know, if there was other assailants out there. So hold on.
You mentioned that there were multiple people that have been shot. Do you have an exact number?
That's an old one. Sorry, guys. Just making sure. Unless there's a mistake here. Uno momento. Okay.
9:30 p.m. 30 hours.
Okay, so there's that. 1 second, y'all. Come on, baby. That ain't it either. Here we go. We got it. Whoops. Pulling it back a little bit because they started about a minute ago. Let's take a look at this. Time to rock and roll. Press conference, y'all. Press conference.
Approximately 9:30. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get it.
Anybody have any issues with the sound, or are we good to go? Okay, good evening. It is a sad day in Kootenai County. Very, very sad. Today, we're going to go over the timeline. We're going to introduce everybody that's up here. Chairman of the BOCC is Bruce Matari. We have Lieutenant Jess Stinson from the Idaho State Police. We have Bill DeRuyter from the Coeur-d'Alene Police Department. And we have Pete Hawley from the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. And we're going to go through a quick timeline. This is still a very, very fresh investigation. So, an incident. So many of these facts might change, but they are evolving as we speak. At approximately 1:21 this afternoon, we received a phone call that there was a fire on the backside or east side of Canfield Mountain. Fire assets responded to the scene, and at approximately 2 o'clock, firefighters broadcast that they were being shot at on Canfield Mountain. During that next hour and a half, where we have assets that are responding to the aid of these firefighters, we still have an active fire. We are managing about 17,000 square foot containment area. We are requesting other law enforcement agencies to assist us. We had a great response. We had the Spokane County Sheriff's Office responded in force, the Spokane Police, the Coeur d'Alene Police Department, the FBI, many agencies responded right here in Idaho, Bonner County, Shoshone County, Kellogg. So we had about 300 law enforcement officers that were on scene that were trying to make heads and tails out of what was occurring. And during this time, we exchanged gunfire with the suspect, and we also got information. We received information from the White House, from Kash Patel, the FBI, from Governor Brad Little, and also Raul Labrador, that anything that we needed, that they would absolutely respond. So we had a lot of assets that came into that command post. And then we had a briefing about 6:30, about 18:30 hours at the command post. And in that briefing, we kind of gave an update to the agencies that this is still an active shooter, and that as soon as this individual could be neutralized, that he should be neutralized and the threat should be eliminated as quickly as possible. At approximately 1940 hours, we did have information that let me back up just a second. We had a cell phone activation that was in the same spot since about 3:16. And that it was in the same area. And we honed in on that cell phone, and we saw that there was a male, appeared to be deceased, with a weapon nearby. So we have currently one dead shooter. Based on the preliminary investigation that was being conducted, keep in mind we had a fire that was rapidly it was approaching the body, so we had to scoop up that body, and we had to transport that body to a different location. But based on the preliminary information, we believe that is the only shooter that was on that mountain at that time. So there is no threat to the community.
No kidding, Addison.
Based on the trajectory and based on the type of weapons that this individual had that we could recover, we believe only the one shooter.
Okay.
We did lose a Coeur d'Alene firefighter, and we did lose a firefighter from the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. We have another firefighter that just came out of surgery from the Coeur d'Alene Police Department. I'm sorry, from the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department, right? Is that true? Okay. He just came out of surgery.
Yeah,
he
great.
is fighting for his life, but he's in stable condition. So we knew that our resources were exhausted. That if this were to prolong into a 24 or 48 hour operation, we would need additional helicopters. We had 2 helicopters that were up, and we had snipers in them. So if they had an opportunity to take a shot, then we wanted them to take that shot. We wanted to neutralize that threat. And Chief, is there anything that you'd like to say, or you want to take questions?
Take questions.
Okay. Right now, like I said, this information is very, very preliminary. And if you have a questions, just ask who you'd like that question directed to, and we'll try to answer it.
Alex, the spokesman review. This is just for the fire personnel. Are you able to share anything about these firefighters? they, just sorry to, anything about them at all and their identities, what the fire department is doing right now to assist the rest of their brothers who lost these guys, or is there anything at all you can give us?
We are not going to name the firefighters at this time, and there was a procession from Kootenai Health to the Spokane Coroner's office, but their families will need support.
Aiden Brown, Current 2 News. You mentioned 3 firefighters that had been shot. Was there any other first responders or personnel that were injured during this operation?
No. As of right now, those are the only 3 that we have. We believe that everybody is off the mountain, so any civilians that were hiking during that time, we believe it's likely, had they been injured, they would have came forward. So
there was a belief at some point that there could have potentially been a second shooter. I know that you're still early, but you have been able to essentially eliminate that thought process.
yeah, we believe, based on the information that we've been able to collect, that we believe that there was only one shooter. And we based it on the weapons that we found at the scene, the type of injuries that were incurred by that weapon. So as of right now, from a very preliminary determination, we believe that there was only the one shooter.
And I know it's early, but do we have any sort of background on this person?
No.
Any motive?
Nope. Black shirt.
Aaron from Range Media. Do we know if the person, you just said you don't have any background on, do we know if he's possibly like from here or if he moved here and you don't know the identity?
We need to wait until a positive identification is made. So the gentleman
did the suspect shoot himself? Do we know that?
We don't know at this point in time. So the coroner's office will conduct their investigation, and so as of right now, we don't know.
Are you able to give any insight on if you think there was a connection between the fire and the
We do believe that the suspect started the fire, and we do believe that it was an ambush and it was intentional. And yeah, we do believe that he started it, and it was totally intentional what he did. In the back there in the tan. There was a gentleman that made the 911 call. He did not identify himself as the shooter. So as of right now, we don't believe that he's the one that made the 911 call. But, that could change because many times people don't use their real names and what have you. So.
Any description of the suspect?
No, not at this time, no. Gentleman in the red hat.
Brandon Neal of KXOY. Does the fire present any problems with you as you're trying to collect evidence?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we scooped up that body, and as far as the preservation of the scene, it's not perfect in this particular situation, but it's something that had to be done. So you have to evaluate each particular circumstance, and at this time, we felt like since the fire was approaching, we needed to scoop up that body, and it's contained. So there are law enforcement personnel that are up there, and we will conduct the investigation, continue it tomorrow morning. Crews will be there all night. So yeah, it's compromised, sure, but we had to do what we had to do to preserve the body. So
what was the weapon?
We're not, like I said, we don't know if there's more weapons up there that he had. There is a belief that he ran and shot. So we don't know what we might be collecting once the fire threat diminishes. The gentleman in the black shirt.
Are other federal agencies still involved?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We, on a large operation like this, if we had to fuel helicopters, and there are some helicopters that had some really good technology that were able to pinpoint where that cell phone activity was. So yeah, there was our federal partners assisted us in this situation. 100% they did.
What location were we dealing with? Did you find the suspect?
Not too far from the original call for service. Yeah, not too far. Anybody I haven't called on? All right, gentleman in the black shirt.
You said you picked up the cell phone signal around 3:16.
Yes.
How long was it between that signal that you got and you were able to recover the body?
It's about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe around 5-ish.
Right.
So you did say there was a gun found, a weapon, correct?
Correct.
What kind was that?
We're not releasing that right now, just because we had to scoop everything up so quickly. We could not preserve the scene like traditionally we would like to. So we believe that there's a likelihood that when we are able to enter the scene again tomorrow without the threat of fire, that we'll find other weapons that were placed. So this was a total ambush. These firefighters did not have a chance.
Sheriff Garrett, with this spokesman review, can you just describe the terrain and how difficult it was, or maybe how simple it was to access?
When you have an environment where you don't know where the bullets are coming from because of the trees and the shrubbery and what have you, it is daunting for police officers, let alone firefighters who are there just to put out the fire. So it's very, very difficult. Very difficult for drones or helicopters to see any individuals up there. So this was a total ambush, taken by surprise, and yeah, it's unfortunate. So.
Sure, firefighters deal with ambush. I mean, police deal with ambush all the time, but firefighters, are they trained in that type of situation?
No, this is something that we don't train for. It's not something we expect. It's not something our firefighters should have to deal with. In this situation, they were called to a grass fire, which is already something that we're very heightened and are anxious about this time of year. And they were doing everything the way they were supposed to do it.
Can we get an update on the fire? Do you have any sort of acreage or containment information?
It's about 20 acres. But unfortunately, we weren't able to put any resources on it because of the gunfire exchange. So, ma'am in the white there.
Sheriff Doris, reading with Crime 2, this is the week of 4th of July. First responders are already on the fence with, this coming week. Just emotionally tell me how it feels to have something happen like this, especially with, such important authorities that are super important for a meeting like this too.
Yeah, I haven't, it hasn't sunk in yet. I mean, this is a situation where I don't even think a lot of us in this room has processed this. So, yeah, this community supports firefighters and law enforcement.
Any structures lost?
No, not at this time, no.
Is there any specific information about the actual location of where the shooter was at? Like, is there I don't want to say an address, but maybe coordinates or anything like that?
We might be able to get that for you later, but I don't have that information now. Yeah. I would like to say something. There was some information that was broadcasted on social media. And it's very, very important. These firefighters or police officers, in some cases, have family. And for some of this information to have been broadcasted, I hope we can ask with our social media and our First Amendment auditors and our civilian journalists to take in consideration what you're putting out there on the social media, because it could be devastating for I mean, it's devastating when somebody knocks at your door to tell you something like this, but to hear about it on social media, I'm just asking for people to be considerate in the most significant of injuries and times. So,
federal apparatus, I'm wondering what the White House has committed to, the FBI and Homeland Security.
we had helicopters and personnel on the ground probably within the hour.
Also, in follow-up to that, this is obviously going to hit our community incredibly hard. It already has. I know, again, it's early. What can we do for the families? Will there be a memorial fund set up? Will there be some sort of way that we can, as a community, come together to support them? Because this is a devastating loss and people want to put that emotion somewhere.
Yeah, you know, we're grieving as an organization, and I can speak for Coeur d'Alene Fire as well. So a lot of those steps have not been completely brought to fruition, especially with it being a weekend. We know that the Red and Blue Foundation and Anchored Coffee has already offered to do a lot of the donation collection, and we appreciate them. They've been a great supporter of law enforcement and fire, and they'll continue to be a good partner for us. So that's where I would initially encourage people to seek to provide some support for the families.
Can you say what
I'd like to add, until a press release comes out by these two agencies, do not give money to a entity that says they're representing these people. They will put out a press release with the information, whether it's going to be an account at a bank or an account at another entity, but we will likely have some people that will try to scam based on this tragedy. So do not give money to any entity until a press release is released. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
On where exactly to give this money.
Can you say, sorry, what you're doing for your firefighters right now? Just because I know this is
I would say it's very early on. They're just processing this right now. So I mean, they're in shock. So is that a fair statement?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say let's give it a day or two, and
we have mobilized peer support groups from all over the region for our people, and so that is something that we've already put into place. But like Sheriff has said, we don't know exactly all the extent of what we're going to need to do for our people just yet.
I did get information that some Black Hawk helicopters were also committed in the event that we needed to go.
The Idaho National Guard was prepared to provide a Black Hawk should we need one.
So, let's go here.
To your knowledge, is there any special significance to either June 29th or to announcing?
No. Nope.
Is there any information you have on when the firefighters were shot at to begin with? Was it when they were actively fighting, or was it?
Well,
when they
it
first arrived?
at approximately 1,400 hours. Yeah.
Is there a potential for this situation to shift policy or add policies to the fire department in any way? I know you guys.
As a rule, you know, what's predictable is preventable. In this situation, I'm just not sure how it could have possibly been predicted. So it's really hard to policy that out, but we will be doing a complete review.
You know, you can anticipate or expect some of these things to occur in a urban setting. You can. I've seen it myself. However, in a rural setting, this is very, very, very rare in a rural setting. I mean, I've never seen it many times in an urban setting. I have not seen it in a rural setting. Yes, sir. Well, you got the last question. Lucky you.
How involved were the firefighters in battling this blaze when they arrived there? Was it pretty immediate that these shots rang out, or were they dousing it with water?
Do you know what time they arrived on scene?
My understanding is that they were doing a reconnaissance on the fire initially, and that there actually was not any active firefighting at that point. So it was right early on in the incident.
And there
information out there that there were multiple fires started, that there was just the one fire.
Correct.
So for the Coeur County Fire, can you spell your name for me? I'm so sorry.
My last name is Holley, Holley.
The Idaho State Police is handling the officer-involved shooting aspect of this investigation. And if you have any questions to them, or our commissioner, the chairman of the board, Bruce Matari, you can, or if you'd like to say anything. Okay.
No, say something here because there's. My name's Bruce Matari. I am the chairman of the board of the county commissioners in Kootenai County. First, I want to extend my most sincerest condolences to the loved ones of the firemen we lost today, and give my prayers to those injured and fighting for their lives. What happened was senseless and tragic beyond words. I also want to highlight the incredible rapid response from Sheriff Norris and his office, and how they rallied quickly with surrounding law enforcement agencies at the local, state, and federal level, and that includes outside the state in Washington. They quickly contained the suspect and prevented him from further harm to others. The response was phenomenal. June 29, 2025 is a day that we will not forget in this community. It is the day evil showed its face, and we lost two outstanding professionals of the highest quality. And I cannot fathom why anyone would commit such a heinous act. This kind of senseless violence is unheard of here, as the sheriff had mentioned. This is not who we are as a community. And when you hear how others portray the people who live here on the news, it's not true. What happened here decades ago is not reflective of the fine people who live here today. And I want everyone to know that this is a wonderful place to live, to raise your family, and visit. It is a place that is comprised of caring and considerate people who look out for each other. And we, this community, will look out for those who are grieving from this tragic loss of their loved ones today. And I ask that the people watching allow time for this community to heal from this unbelievable loss. And that I also want to thank the fact that, the resources are here and that they've been made available at the state level to support our local law enforcement and even at the federal level. It was an outstanding response, and Sheriff Norris and his office deserve all the credit for that. So thank you.
What happened a couple
You look like you have one more
couple
question.
decades ago?
You said Washington and Idaho, of course, responded, but I thought I saw mutual aid license plates from Montana. Can you comment at all about if Montana delivered any mutual aid?
I believe Montana was on scene also, yes.
Fire's not out, guys.
So just real quick, are there any evacuations planned for the fire?
At this time, no. But I encourage you, if you haven't signed up for Kootenai Alerts, to make sure that we sign up for Kootenai Alerts. And that is the best way. We did send out an alert for people to shelter in place at this time, if you're in that impacted area. So Kootenai Alerts is a great way to stay informed. Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to speak quietly before you guys go, oh my God, I'm scared. Pascal's talking on the mic again. So that was interesting. That was a whole lot of nothing. Okay. So there was that. So they have somebody. He definitely is an assailant. They believe to be an assailant, but they still haven't done all the math. They haven't done all the due diligence to make sure that this is the guy. They said, due to everything that was on his person, the other weapons, etc., that he had on his person, definitely this was somebody that was tied to this whole situation. The other thing somebody else said that I thought was, I also agree with, they were saying because of the firearm that he had on his person or the firearm that was found, they were like, it was a safe assessment to believe that this guy was a part of this situation. Yet when they asked him what kind of firearm, what kind of firearm it was, he couldn't, he wasn't willing to answer that question. Yet that was one of the key elements to connect the body to the actual incident that happened today. That seemed a little bit weird. The other thing too is that they still don't know if this is the only acting guy or not, which I'm happy that I'm glad that they gave us the transparency on that. Okay. I'm happy that they gave us the transparency on that. But at the same time, that still doesn't mean that those other people could be out there, right? That they could have ran off. I get that they were holding a lot of things close to the vest, but it seemed a little bit like they were holding everything. Seemed like everything was vague. And I think that's weird. I know it's an ongoing investigation. Most people will sit there and go, hey, it's an ongoing investigation. They need to do what they need to do. They need to dive into this, do their investigation to make sure that this is all that there is. But this guy could very well have been operating alone. That could have literally have been happening, or he could have been operating with other people. Now, what's interesting about this is I was wondering about this. I don't know what this thing that they said, please don't let this reflect on what happened a couple decades ago. I am still trying to find out what that is. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here or what it's all about, right? Because I see some of you guys saying the Aryan Inferno. I don't know what the heck that is. And then there's Ruby Ridge. Oh, snap. Okay, let's take a look at this. AI, Google AI, saying Ruby Ridge was the site of an 11-day standoff in 1992 between Randy Weaver, his family, and the federal law enforcement officers in Idaho. The incident began with an attempt to arrest Weaver on weapons charges, escalating into a deadly confrontation with U.S. Marshals and later the FBI. The standoff resulted in the demise of a U.S. Marshal, Weaver's son, Sammy, and his wife, Vicky. Oh, man. Oh, man, that's terrible. I don't know this. I don't know this situation. I don't know this story at all. So the setting, Ruby Ridge's remote location in northern Idaho near Naples. Randy Weaver, his wife Vicky, and their children lived in the cabin there, having moved to the area seeking isolation and self-sufficiency. The trigger. Standoff began when U.S. Marshals attempted to arrest Weaver on charges of failing to appear in court for a previous firearms violation. Weaver had been accused of selling 2 sawed-off shotguns to an undercover ATF informant. Eesh, that's bad. The escalation. A confrontation occurred between the Marshals and Weaver, his son Sammy, and their friend Kevin Harris, resulting in a shootout where Deputy Marshal William Deegan and Sammy Weaver lost their lives. Following this, the FBI took over the operation. So FBI sniper took the life of Vicky Weaver while she was holding their infant daughter. Whoa, that's insane. The incident became a siege with the Weaver family holed up in their cabin. My Lord. So a sniper took out Vicky Weaver? What the hell? While she was holding her baby? That's insane. The resolution, after 11 days, the standoff ended with the surrender of Weaver and his daughters following negotiations with civilian mediators. So the aftermath of Ruby Ridge incident sparked significant controversy and criticism of the government's handling of the situation. Yeah, the woman was holding the baby and she was iced. That's insane. There were accusations of excessive force, missteps in the rules of engagement, and a lack of accountability. The incident is often cited as a key event in the rise of the modern militia movement. So, legal consequences. Randy Weaver was eventually convicted of failing to appear in court on the firearms charges. The government later paid millions of dollars in compensation to the Weaver family for the demise of Vicky and Sammy. Have mercy. That is insane. So, the FBI did them dirty. I mean, there was a lot of things that things escalated, obviously, but they actually took a sniper, sniped the wife while holding their infant daughter. That is insane. So this is apparently what happened. I mean, this is a breakdown, like a very, very rough breakdown, AI overview on Google on what actually happened a couple decades ago in Ruby Ridge. So if that's what they're talking about, that's insane. Okay, that is absolutely insane, y'all. Wow. But it does make you wonder, was she holding a weapon while she was holding the baby? I'm just curious, right? I'm quite curious, but that is a wild case. I didn't even know that existed. So that's what they're possibly pertaining to when I don't know who that was that stepped up at the very end. I don't remember what his title was, but he walked up and he's like, please don't let this be. Please don't think that this is what happened. What happened in, a couple decades ago is exactly what's happening here now. That's interesting that he said that too. So it's good to know that information about Ruby Ridge. That's crazy. Okay. Crisis Cast. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I didn't know anything about Ruby Ridge. Real talk. I didn't know. So I'm going to look into it a little bit more because that is very, very interesting, for sure. But then, at the same time, yeah, I'm going to look into this for sure. Because this happened because that's the thing. I'm wondering when this whole standoff, everything went down. Did it happen around this same time? The standoff allegedly started. The standoff happened in August of 1992. So it's not like it was like on the anniversary of or anything like that. But that is something that's very, very interesting as well. Interesting. I'm going to have to look into it a little bit more, for sure. But guys, again, they didn't really give us a whole lot of information, but they did say that it seems like the threat is gone, but they did not really confirm whether or not that person is operating alone. They believe that this is the assailant, but they have not confirmed 110% whether or not this person operated alone. We'll look into it for sure as time goes on. They're going to be investigating all this, but all I can say is, they have lifted the requirement to shelter in place. That is gone now, which is obviously, in my personal opinion, very good news. Everyone can kind of go back to a certain extent to their regularly scheduled program in life. Does it mean that everything's done? No, it doesn't. Hopefully, if there are other people involved, they're able to lock them up as soon as possible. Okay, guys? But that is the show, guys. I appreciate you guys for being here. It really means a lot. That is the show. Be sure to go home and get to your bedrooms, go and sleep. We'll be back up in the morning to talk about more stuff that's going on in the world and then some. So do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. Follow, like, follow me on all of them, please. Subscribe here on my main channel. Go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there, okay? Don't forget to do that as well. Hit that notification bell on both channels so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it's random, okay? Hit that join button down below. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com, all right? PascalMerch.com. I appreciate you guys. We'll be talking here very soon. I'll see you guys in a couple hours, literally. So much love to you guys. Have a good night. Get some rest. We'll be talking soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.